$200 million. That's what Yu Menglong's contract was worth. And that's exactly what someone collected from his life insurance policy hours after he fell from a fifth-floor window in Beijing. Except the beneficiary wasn't his family. It was a shell corporation that dissolved 3 weeks after receiving the payout. Now ask yourself, when does an actor's death become more profitable than his career? Is it when his signature has been used to launder money through military weapons contracts he didn't know existed? Or when shell companies in his name move tens of millions of dollars he never saw? Or when powerful people have been pressuring him for sexual favors for years and he kept refusing? These things are what often make famous celebrities become prey for some wicked, rich, and powerful people. Yu Menglong died on September 11th, 2025, but the questions surrounding Yu's death are poking at some of the most powerful people in China, including one man who might be the illegitimate son of the country's leader. Today, we're exploring 42 conspiracy theories about Yu Menglong, and by the end of this video, you'll understand why the world is enraged and why the Chinese government is terrified of this case. Thanks for clicking on this video, and please like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to stay updated with our latest videos. Also, drop a comment sharing where you're watching from. Let's see which country has the most viewers. Conspiracy 1. Shikai's obsession. Shikai wasn't just a powerful executive. He was Yu Menglong's top fan. In Chinese celebrity culture, a top fan isn't just someone who loves the star. It's someone with money and power who can make things happen. Shikai ran Yu's official fan club. He funded billboards and publicity campaigns. And according to multiple sources, he was openly gay and allegedly infatuated with Yu. Industry insiders claim Shikai had been trying for years to get Yu to comply with sexual demands. When Yu refused, his career mysteriously stalled. From 2020 to 2023, Yu virtually disappeared from television. He went to rural villages to teach children because he had no other work. This 3-year blackout happened right when he was at the peak of his popularity. Someone with power froze his career. Many believe that someone was Shikai. Conspiracy 2. The 99 shell companies, investigators tracking Shikai's connections, discovered something overwhelming. A single phone number linked to Shikai was registered to 99 different companies. 99. When you register a business in China, you need to provide a phone number. This one number appeared in the corporate filings of 99 separate entities. And here's the interesting part. That same number showed up in the registration documents for Yu Menglong's shell companies. The companies laundering money in Yu's name were directly connected to Shikai's network. One of those companies had been operating for 5 years with 0 employees on payroll, yet it generated $630 million in revenue. That's not a business. That's a money laundering operation. And Shikai's phone number tied it all together. Conspiracy 3. Tian Hong, the billionaire widow. The second major suspect is Tian Hai Rong, the widow of a Chinese billionaire. Her husband, Xu Ming, was chairman of the Dalian Scheid Group and reportedly served as a personal financier for high-ranking Communist Party officials. Xu Ming went to prison for money laundering. Then, right before his scheduled release, he died suddenly in his cell at the age of 44. The official cause was never clearly explained. Tian inherited a lot of money, and according to investigators, she used that money to finance the operation that killed Yu Menglong. Witnesses claim that immediately after Yu's death, people went door to door in the apartment complex, offering residents tens of thousands of dollars to stay silent. The total payout would have required millions of dollars. Only someone with Tian Hong's wealth could afford that kind of hush money. And when residents refused the bribes, things turned violent. Their tires were slashed, red paint was splashed on their doors. Within days, 90 units in the complex were listed for sale. That number jumped to 153 within 12 hours. People were fleeing because they knew the truth was being silenced. Conspiracy. The forged Bulgari Hotel. Obi Tian Hai Rong and director Chang Ching-cheng tried to create an alibi. They claimed they were having dinner together at the Bulgari Hotel the night Yu died, nowhere near the apartment. They posted WeChat screenshots showing their conversation about meeting at the hotel. They posted a restaurant receipt showing they ate there. They even posted an electronic payment confirmation. But every piece of evidence they provided had problems. The WeChat screenshots showed 16 characters per line when they should have shown 15. The receipt looked brand new despite being a month old. The payment screenshot came from an Android phone when both of them used iPhones. And strangest of all, their text messages showed them messaging each other at 7:36:26 minutes after the receipt timestamp. Why would two people sitting at the same dinner table be texting each other, unless they weren't actually together? The alibi wasn't proof of innocence. It was proof of coordination. They were trying to cover their tracks, and they did it badly. Conspiracy 5. Director Chang. The Predator, director Chang Ching-Cheng, had a reputation long before Yu's death. He's known in the industry for his bright magenta hair, a terrible dye job that makes him instantly recognizable. But his appearance isn't what people remember. They remember his behavior. Multiple young men came forward over the years, claiming Chang sexually harassed them. He would find attractive male influencers or aspiring actors online and send them inappropriate messages. "I'm hungry. I want to eat. Do you like me? Let's meet up." The messages were clear in their intent. Chang used his position as a director to pressure young men into sexual situations, and when they refused, their careers suffered. He's been described as Chester the Molester and an old cow that likes to eat fresh grass, a Chinese expression for older men who prey on the young. On September 10th, the night Yu allegedly died, Chang posted one word on social media: "Yummy." Just that. No context. But when you understand Chang's history and his alleged presence at the dinner party, that single word takes on a sickening meaning. Conspiracy 6. Chang's pattern with Kimi. Director Chang's connection to death goes back further than Yu Menglong. In 2016, another actor named Kimi, real name Chao Renliang, died under suspicious circumstances. The official ruling was suicide. But just like with Yu, the details didn't add up. Fans noted that Kimi had been trying to distance himself from certain powerful figures in the industry. He'd allegedly rejected sexual advances from executives. Then he died suddenly at age 28. And director Chang, who was known to be obsessed with Kimi, posted cryptic messages online. Years later, when Yu died, Chang posted about Kimi again. Why bring up another dead actor unless you're sending a message? Some believe Chang was reminding the other conspirators that he knows too much to be thrown under the bus. Others think he was bragging. Either way, the pattern is clear. Young actors who refuse to comply end up dead, and director Chang is always somewhere in the background watching. Conspiracy 7. The Bulgari Hotel torture chamber. The Bulgari Hotel isn't just where suspects tried to hide their guilt. According to leaked recordings, it's where Yu was actually held and tortured. Videos that briefly circulated online before being scrubbed show distinctive octagonal floor tiles. That 8-pointed star pattern is a signature design element of Bulgari hotels worldwide. The audio accompanying these videos is nightmarish. You can hear a man screaming. You can hear someone yelling, "Spit it out," over and over. Some witnesses who claim to have seen longer versions of the footage say it shows Yu being beaten while restrained. One theory suggests Yu was held at the Bulgari Hotel from September 1st through September 10th. 9 full days of captivity and torture. During that time, he was allegedly drugged, interrogated, and subjected to escalating violence. And when he finally died, his body was moved to the apartment building to stage the fall. Conspiracy 8. The underground tunnel. How do you move a body from a luxury hotel to an apartment building without being seen? According to this theory, you use an underground tunnel. Online investigators claim that the Bulgari Hotel is connected via underground passage to the 798 Art Museum, also known as Chiwa Art Museum. Both properties are owned by the same parent company, which is fully owned by the Beijing municipal government. If true, this means the government itself owns both the alleged crime scene and the body disposal route. The tunnel theory explains how Yu's body could have been transported without any witnesses seeing him leave the hotel. It explains why security cameras at both locations mysteriously malfunctioned during crucial hours, and it ties the government directly to the cover-up. Conspiracy 9. The 798 Art Museum horror. The the 798 Art Museum became a focal point of investigation when people discovered its exhibits. It isn't a normal art museum. Photos that leaked online show rooms filled with what appear to be real human remains, arranged as art installations. There are displays of shoes, just single shoes, not pairs, hanging from red strings that all converge at a ceiling point. Hundreds of shoes. And some of those shoes allegedly belonged to dead celebrities, including Kimmy and Yu Menglong. There are conveyor belts displaying what look like human skins. There are torture scenes with bodies in various states of mutilation. One reviewer on Gaud Map posted 9 graphic photos of bloody posed bodies and wrote, "This place is really good. The parking is convenient, and tickets are cheap." The casual tone contrasted with the horror of the images went viral before being deleted. But here's the most disturbing part. The museum closed for 2 days immediately after Yu's death. Workers in white protective suits were seen in the building. Neighbors reported the smell of formaldehyde in the air. Conspiracy 10. Body plastination theory. A whistleblower who called himself a conscience insider came forward with a horrifying claim. He said Yu Menglong's body was never cremated. Instead, it was transported through the underground tunnel to the 798 Art Museum on the night of his death. The insider claimed he personally saw the body being moved at 3 a.m. on September 11th. It was covered with only a black cloth. He saw purple rope marks around Yu's ankles. The body was taken directly to basement level 4, a cold storage area not open to the public. The insider said Yu's remains are being kept in cold room number 14, soaked in formaldehyde, preparing to be turned into a plastinated specimen. This process, called body plastination, replaces bodily fluids with polymers to preserve the body permanently. The insider warned that if people didn't act fast, Yu would be turned into part of the museum's permanent collection, a trophy of his killer's depravity. Conspiracy, the Dalian connection. The body plastination theory isn't as far-fetched as it sounds. There's a company in China called Dalian Haiyantang Biology Company. This firm specializes in producing plastinated human specimens for medical education. But corporate records show something disturbing. In July 2022, Dalian Haiyantang Biology expanded into the food industry. They started manufacturing pre-cooked meals, ready-to-eat frozen foods sold across China. Around the same time, multiple reports emerged of people finding teeth in their food. Human teeth. One person found 3 teeth in a sausage. A family in Dongguan found 2 teeth in dumplings. Someone in Shanghai discovered a dental implant with a screw still attached inside a walnut cake. These incidents sparked widespread panic. If a company that processes human bodies for plastination is also making pre-cooked meals, what exactly is going into that food supply? Conspiracy 12. Song Ren. The madam. Now let's talk about Song Ren, an actress who lived in the same building where Yu's body was found. Some investigators believe she wasn't just a neighbor. They believe she was the madam, a woman who lured celebrities to parties where wealthy and powerful men could exploit them. Song Ren has always presented herself as innocent and wholesome on social media, but people who knew her in school tell a different story. They describe her as aggressive and sexually promiscuous. One former classmate claimed Song bragged about sleeping with 50 different men by age 17. In August 2025, exactly 1 month before Yu's death, Song posted a series of photos on social media. They were live photos, the kind that capture 3 seconds of motion and audio. When people played them back, they heard something chilling. In one photo, you can clearly hear Song say, "He keeps resisting." In another, there's a sound like a slap, followed by someone saying, "It's painful or what?" In the background of one photo, you can see a phone on a restaurant table. The phone has a distinctive orange silicone case. That same month, Yu was photographed taking a picture, and his phone had an identical orange case. Investigators believe Song's photos document Yu being held captive and tortured a month before his official death date. Conspiracy 13. The Peephole video. A video surfaced online showing footage allegedly recorded through an apartment peephole. The quality is grainy and dark, but you can see shadowy figures moving through the hallway. There's a man who appears to be crying. Multiple people are guiding or dragging him down the corridor, and behind them, a woman walks while holding her phone up, as if filming the scene. On the wall, you can see the shadow of her phone, and hanging from it is a distinctive long ribbon or strap. People immediately connected this to Song Ren, who frequently posted selfies showing off her phone with a massive blue ribbon charm attached. The video was posted by a Thai woman on September 16th, days after Yu's death. Some claimed it was debunked, that it wasn't filmed in China, that it was from a different country, but others argue the debunking was part of the cover-up. They say powerful people deliberately spread false information about the video to muddy the waters. When nothing is clearly true or false, people stop believing anything. Conspiracy. In Song Ren's apartment lie. Song Ren claims she moved out of the building 9 months before Yu's death, but photos she posted on social media tell a different story. Pictures clearly show her in an apartment with the building number visible in the background. Building 18, the exact building where Yu's body was found. Some photos show clothing hanging to dry in front of a window. The blue shirt and white pants visible in those photos match clothing Yu was seen wearing in August. Investigators believe Song never moved out. They believe she was holding Yu captive in her apartment, or in an apartment she controlled in that building. And when he died, the staging of his fall from the apartment was just misdirection. The real crime scene may have been Song's unit all along. Conspiracy 15. The Star Certificate. After Yu's death, a female screenwriter who worked at his agency posted something bizarre. She bought a star, one of those novelty star naming certificates. She dedicated it to Yu, but the inscription raised eyebrows. It read, "You are everything when you are with me, and everything is you when you are not." That's not the language of a coworker. That's the language of a romantic partner. And there's more. The star wasn't just named after Yu. It was named after Yu and the screenwriter together, like a couple's name. At the very end, she added an Arabic-influenced colloquial Levantine dialect word, takbarni. This word means, "you bury me." It's a romantic expression meaning, "I hope to die before you, so that you can bury me, because I couldn't live without you." Conspiracy 16. Singer Fan's audio. Singer Fan, whose full name is Fan Xiahua, competed on the same reality show as Yu years earlier. They were supposedly friends, but audio recordings that circulated online tell a different story. In one clip, a man's voice, identified by many listeners as fans, says, "You're lucky I didn't beat you to death. As a man, a little blood is nothing. It's not a big deal." The audio allegedly comes from the torture sessions. And there's another recording, this one more disturbing, where you can hear a dog howling and a man sobbing. Some claim this is the moment Fan killed Yu's dog, fully in front of him. Whether the audio is real or fabricated remains unclear. But Fan's behavior after Yu's death raised questions. 4 days later, he posted on social media, "I'm very happy. Are you guys happy?" His own friend had just died, and he's asking if people are happy. A concert he was supposed to perform sold exactly 15 tickets. The show was canceled. His career imploded overnight as fans turned against him. But he never explained his behavior. He never defended himself. He just went silent. Conspiracy. The Mirror City Project. Shortly before his death, Yu was working on something that terrified his handlers. He'd been developing a documentary called Mirror City. The project allegedly exposed how China's entertainment industry manipulates online traffic, launders money through film productions, and serves as a front for political corruption. Yu had traveled to Singapore to meet with executives from a competing streaming platform. He wanted to produce the documentary outside China, beyond the reach of mainland censors. If true, this would have been an unprecedented betrayal of the system that made him famous. Corporate emails from that Singapore trip show Yu discussing ways to bypass government oversight. But after his death, every trace of Mirror City vanished. No contracts, no footage, no budget documents. It was as if the project never existed. Investigators believe Yu's documentary would have named names, specific executives, specific politicians, specific schemes. That's why he had to be silenced. Conspiracy 18. the help me signals. In the weeks before his death, Yu did something strange during his live streams. Fans watching noticed him making a specific hand gesture repeatedly. He would hold up an open palm, tuck his thumb inside, then close his fist around it. This is an international signal for domestic violence or being held captive. Flight attendants are trained to recognize it. TSA agents know to look for it. And Yu did it multiple times on camera while seemingly casual conversations with fans. In another live stream, he appeared to mouth the words, "Save me," while his hand covered his mouth. His lips moved, and you could hear a whispered breath, but no clear sound. Some believe the audio was deliberately suppressed or edited out. Others think Yu was speaking too quietly to be picked up by his microphone because he knew his handlers were watching. And in yet another stream, while talking about his internet connection being poor, he said out loud, "Help me." The chat erupted with concern, but Yu quickly moved on, as if playing it off as a joke about his network problems. Conspiracy, the hidden poem. Yu allegedly posted a poem on social media in the weeks before his death. The poem itself made no sense. Random observations about rain, umbrellas, and learning magic tricks. But Chinese netizens discovered something chilling. If you take the first character of each line and read them together, they spell out, "Today, they want me to die." This is called a Tibetan head poem, a Chinese literary technique where the first character of each line contains a hidden message. Yu, if he truly wrote this poem, was crying out for help in a way his captors wouldn't immediately notice. But no one understood until it was too late. Investigators have struggled to verify the poem's authenticity because Yu's social media accounts were systematically purged after his death. The original post, if it ever existed, is gone. Conspiracy 20. His mother's two letters. Two letters allegedly written by Yu's mother began circulating. The first, released through official channels, read like a corporate statement. It said Yu's death was a tragic accident. It asked people to stop spreading rumors and accept the police findings. It thanked authorities for their professionalism. The tone was cold, formal, and emotionless, nothing like a grieving mother. Then a second letter appeared. This one had a red thumbprint at the bottom, as if stamped by someone unable to access modern technology. The language was completely different. It said, "My son was murdered. I have evidence. They are trying to silence me, but I will not stop fighting for justice. He was tortured. He was thrown from that window. The people who did this are powerful, but heaven sees all." The second letter circulated briefly before being scrubbed from the internet. Authorities never acknowledged its existence. Yu's mother, who had been seen in public briefly after the funeral, disappeared from view. Neighbors reported seeing unmarked cars outside her home. She hasn't spoken publicly since. Conspiracy 21. The missing evidence. The evidence that should exist in any death investigation simply doesn't exist in Yu's case. There's no CCTV footage from the apartment building's hallways or elevators during the crucial window when Yu allegedly fell. Cameras were supposedly under maintenance, yet the building's management company later stated they had no maintenance scheduled that night. Yu's phone vanished. Police claimed it was damaged beyond recovery, yet modern phones are built to withstand significant trauma. The hard drive in Yu's apartment was replaced between his death and when investigators examined the residence. The security guard who first responded to the scene was transferred out of Beijing within 48 hours. No one has been able to locate him for an interview since. And perhaps most damning, no autopsy results were ever published. Police concluded no foul play in 12 hours without conducting a proper forensic investigation. Conspiracy 22. The window. Physics. Let's return to that window. Police claimed Yu, drunk and disoriented, stumbled through a mesh screen and fell 5 stories to his death. But engineers and architects who examined photos of the window raised immediate objections. The window sits 35 inches from the floor, waist height. To fall through it, you'd need to either climb onto the sill or be pushed with significant force. The mesh screen isn't decorative. It's designed to prevent exactly this kind of accident. You'd need to hit it hard enough to break through or cut it deliberately. Crime scene photos showed footprints on the windowsill, suggesting someone stood on it. They found dust and mesh fibers under Yu's fingernails, indicating he grabbed at the screen, trying to prevent his fall. And most tellingly, there were scrape marks on the window frame leading downward. Marks consistent with someone clawing at the frame as they were pushed. None of these details suggest a drunken accident. They suggest a fight for survival. Conspiracy 23. The sacrifice ritual theory. This theory ventures into territory that sounds like horror fiction, but it persists in online discussions. Yu Menglong and Xi Jinping share the same birthday. In traditional Chinese superstition, there's a belief that powerful people can extend their lifespan by sacrificing someone who shares their birth date and astrological profile. The theory is that the king of hell gets confused when he comes to collect one soul and finds two people with identical cosmic signatures. So if you kill your double, you trick death itself and gain extra years of life. Proponents of this theory point to the timing of Yu's death, occurred during a blood moon, a period considered astrologically significant. They note that Yu's death coincided with a period when Xi Jinping was reportedly suffering health problems, including rumors of multiple strokes. They connect it to an ancient Qinling Mountains tunnel project that allegedly severed Xi's dragon vein, a feng shui concept meaning his ancestral fortune was disrupted. According to this theory, Xi needed to restore his power and health through a ritual sacrifice, and Yu, who shared his birthday and fit the astrological profile, became the offering. As fantastical as this sounds, the theory gained traction because of how aggressively the government censored discussion of Yu's death. If it was truly just an accident, why the overwhelming response? Conspiracy 24. The purge of 9 generals around the same time as Yu's death, something unprecedented happened in China's military. 9 high-ranking generals were purged simultaneously, expelled from the Communist Party, and stripped of their ranks. These weren't minor officers. They included vice chairmen of the Central Military Commission, commanders of major theater operations, and political commissars. Most of them belonged to Xi Jinping's trusted faction, the so-called Xi family army. The timing struck many observers as significant. If Shukai truly is Xi's illegitimate son, and if the Yu Menglong case threatened to expose that connection, along with massive financial crimes, then Xi would need to consolidate power and eliminate anyone who might turn against him. The 9 generals were potential threats, people who knew too much and might cooperate with rival factions. Their simultaneous removal suggested panic at the highest levels of Chinese government. One commentator called it a political nuclear explosion. Another described it as Xi's empire beginning to crumble. And in the middle of all this chaos, one actor's death becomes the thread that, if pulled, could unravel the entire system. Conspiracy 25. The dark web video. Perhaps the most disturbing theory involves footage allegedly sold on the dark web. According to multiple sources, a video documenting Yu's torture and murder was uploaded to dark web marketplaces shortly after his death. The initial asking price was $100,000. As demand increased and authorities cracked down on leaks, the price rose to over $140,000. The video allegedly contains watermarks, invisible tracers that identify each copy sold, making it extremely dangerous to leak or redistribute. But a few snippets allegedly escaped. One shows a woman identified as Song Ren holding a phone and filming. Another shows someone matching singer Fan's description killing a dog. A third shows 2 men throwing an unconscious person from a window. A Chinese national living in the United States allegedly purchased the full video and turned it over to the FBI. If true, this means American law enforcement has evidence of a murder committed by Chinese political elite, evidence that would create an international incident if released publicly. The FBI has never confirmed or denied possessing such footage, but the fact that even the rumor of its existence causes massive censorship in China suggests something very real is being hidden. Conspiracy 26. The search engine manipulation. In the days after Yu's death, Chinese netizens began researching connections between suspects. They typed questions into Dalian, China's TikTok, using the platform's AI search feature. Questions like, did Yu Menglong and Kimi have the same manager? The AI initially answered yes, They shared the same management. Screenshots of these search results spread across social media. But the next day, when people searched the exact same question, the AI answered no. They didn't share a manager. Someone with significant power had changed the AI's response overnight. This wasn't a bug or a correction based on new information. Corporate records don't change retroactively. If the two men shared a manager, that's a verifiable fact that doesn't change because it's convenient. The manipulation of AI search results showed that whoever was covering up Yu's death had the ability to alter not just social media posts, but the fundamental information infrastructure Chinese citizens use to understand reality. Conspiracy 27. The refrigeration system. Yu's talent agency, TNU Media, operated under what insiders call a refrigeration model. After talent reality shows produced new batches of hopeful stars, the agency would mass sign 20 or 30 young people at once. Out of that group, they'd choose one or two to actually promote, giving them roles, publicity, and career support. The rest would be refrigerated. Their careers would be frozen. They'd receive no opportunities, but remain bound by contracts with termination fees ranging from 30 to 200 million yuan. These refrigerated talents couldn't leave because they couldn't afford the buyout. They couldn't work elsewhere because the agency controlled their public image and wouldn't release them for other projects. They were trapped. And while trapped, they became what insiders called free-for-all playthings. Wealthy investors and politically connected executives could use these powerless celebrities however they wanted, sexually, financially, criminally. The celebrities had no recourse. They couldn't sue a state-owned agency. They couldn't speak out without losing the tiny scraps of career they had left. Yu Menglong was refrigerated from 2020 to 2023. During those 3 years, he allegedly faced constant pressure to comply with sexual demands from powerful men. When paparazzi began leaking blind items about a major scandal involving an actor with 25 million followers in August 2025, that actor was Yu. The leaks were a threat. Comply, or we'll destroy your reputation. Yu reportedly called their bluff. 2 weeks later, he was dead. Conspiracy 28. The manager's disturbing posts. Yu's manager has remained largely unnamed in most coverage, but his social media presence raised alarms. This man had no entertainment industry background before becoming Yu's manager. Industry insiders describe him as hired muscle, someone brought in not to manage a career, but to control a person. His job was surveillance and enforcement. Keep Yu in line. Make sure he doesn't talk. Handle any problems that arise. On his social media accounts, this manager posted disturbing artistic images. One series showed what appeared to be a human body wrapped in plastic on a metal table. In subsequent images, someone cuts the head into sections like a cake. The pieces are then arranged on a plate. The images are revealed to be an art project or sculpture, not a real person. But the caption was chilling. Something that is whole can be cut into pieces, but those pieces can never be whole again. After Yu's death, people went back through these posts and saw them as threats or confessions. This manager was telling the world exactly what he was capable of doing, hiding it behind the label of art. Conspiracy 29. The government ownership. Here's a fact that can't be disputed. Yu's talent agency, the Bulgari Hotel, where he was allegedly tortured, and the 798 Art Museum, where his body was allegedly stored, all three are owned by the Chinese government. TNU Media is a subsidiary of Mango TV, which is state-owned. The Bulgari Hotel and Chiwa Art Museum are operated by Chiwa Beijing Corporation, which is wholly owned by Beijing Tourism Group Corporation, which is 100% owned by the Beijing municipal government. This isn't a case of private criminals covering up a crime. This is a state operation. Every location involved in Yu's disappearance, torture, and death belongs to the government. That's why the censorship is so aggressive. That's why the investigation closed so quickly. That's why witnesses are being silenced and evidence is vanishing. When the government itself is the crime scene, there's no higher authority to appeal to. Conspiracy. The pattern of deaths. Over the past decade, at least 9 to 10 celebrities from TNU Media have died under suspicious circumstances. Each case followed a similar pattern. The celebrity would die suddenly, falling from a building, overdosing, crashing their car. Police would investigate for less than 24 hours before ruling it an accident or suicide. Autopsies would be rushed or never published. Family members would be pressured to accept the official narrative. Anyone asking questions would be censored or threatened. Then the story would fade from public consciousness as the next scandal or entertainment news cycle took over. But the deaths kept happening. Kimmy in 2016 alleged suicide by jumping, but photos from his funeral showed injuries inconsistent with a fall. A female actress who allegedly stripped naked before jumping from a building, a scenario that makes no psychological sense. A newscaster whose mother was told she had to sign a document claiming her son was on drugs, or she couldn't claim his body. Each death eliminated someone who had somehow become a liability to the system, and each time, the same manager and the same network of executives appeared in the background. The pattern suggests TNU Media isn't just mismanaging talent, it's systematically eliminating people who know too much or refuse to comply. Conspiracy 31, the 2 Rolex watches. When police processed the scene, they allegedly found 2 Rolex watches in Yu's pockets. This detail leaked online before being quickly scrubbed, but witnesses who saw early photos claimed the watches were visible in shots of Yu's body. Here's the problem. Yu wasn't known for wearing expensive watches, and certainly not 2 at once. Investigators believe those watches belonged to Ji Guangwang, the screenwriter who allegedly hosted the dinner party. Ji is known as a Rolex collector who frequently posts photos of his watch collection. The theory is that, after killing Yu, someone placed the watches in his pockets, either as payment, as a threat, or as a signal. In Chinese culture, giving someone a watch can symbolize, your time is up. If Ji's watches were found on Yu's body, it's a message. And if police confiscated them immediately without documenting them in official reports, it's because they know whose watches they are and what they represent. Conspiracy 32. Google Maps erasure. After online investigators identified the 798 Art Museum as central to the case, something odd happened. The museum vanished from Google Maps. If you searched for the Bulgari Hotel Beijing, it appeared normally. But the museum right next door, which had been clearly marked on maps for years, was gone. Only Baidu Maps, China's domestic mapping service, still showed it. Some speculated Google had been pressured by Chinese authorities to remove the location. Others thought the museum itself requested removal to avoid attention. Either way, the digital erasure of a physical location shows the length someone went to disconnect the museum from public scrutiny. You can delete social media posts, but deleting a building from maps? That requires coordination between tech companies and government officials at multiple levels. Conspiracy 33, the Ferrari exhibition. On October 17th, just as online investigations into the Bulgari Hotel and Museum were reaching a fever pitch, the hotel suddenly announced a special event, a Ferrari limited series exhibition scheduled for October 17th through 18th, a luxury car show at a hotel currently under intense scrutiny for allegedly hosting a torture and murder session. The timing seemed designed to accomplish several things: flood the hotel with visitors and activity to dilute any remaining evidence, create a legitimate reason for increased security and controlled access, generate positive publicity to counteract the negative attention, and potentially move or dispose of evidence under cover of the exhibition setup, while crowds and media attention focused on expensive automobiles instead of investigating the murders. Conspiracy 34, the screenwriter's September 10th post. The female screenwriter from Yu's agency, the one who later bought the star certificate, allegedly posted something haunting on her secondary social media account the night before Yu died. On September 10th, around 11 p.m., she wrote, "The last time is terrifying. You won't know it's the last time. There is no goodbye, no signs, just regrets. Good night." The post appeared hours before Yu's body was discovered. If Yu truly died in a drunken accident around 3 a.m. on September 11th, how would this screenwriter know it was his last time the night before? Some argue the timestamp could be wrong, or the account could be fake, that there's no proof she actually wrote this. But if the post is authentic, it's evidence of foreknowledge. She knew something was going to happen to you that night, and her melancholic tone, talking about regrets and final goodbyes, reads like someone who participated in something terrible and is processing the guilt in real time. Conspiracy the dogs as proof of life. After Yu's death, his fans became obsessed with one question. Where are his etudes? Yu famously loved his two pets, a corgi and a French bulldog named Fouli. He posted about them constantly. They were his companions during his years of being frozen out of work. So when he died, people immediately asked what happened to the dogs. The screenwriter from his agency claimed the dogs were fine, being cared for by a friend. But when fans demanded proof, just a simple photo of the dogs, she refused. She became hostile and defensive, calling people weird for caring about animals when Yu was dead. But here's why the dogs matter. Leaked audio allegedly captures Yu's dog. Fouli being killed during his torture. The audio includes a dog howling in agony and Yu sobbing. If that audio is real, then Fouli is dead. And if Fouli is dead, then the screenwriter is lying about the dogs being fine. And if she's lying about something so easily verifiable, what else is she lying about? The refusal to provide a simple photo became, in the minds of investigators, proof that the torture audio is authentic, and at least one of Yu's dogs was murdered that night. Conspiracy 36, the network issue live stream. During one of his final live streams, Yu was interacting with fans when he suddenly said, "Help me." The chat exploded. People asked what was wrong. Yu quickly explained that his internet connection was bad, and the stream kept freezing. He needed help with the technical issues. Fans accepted this explanation and moved on. But looking back at the footage, Yu's tone when he said, "Help me," didn't match his explanation. His voice trembled. His eyes darted around the room. He looked genuinely afraid. Analysts who studied the video noted that Yu's internet connection showed no signs of instability before or after that moment. The stream didn't buffer or freeze. The audio and video quality remained constant. So why would he suddenly complain about network problems that didn't exist? The theory is that Yu was crying out for actual help, telling his fans that he was in danger, but had to disguise it as a technical complaint because his captors were watching. He couldn't say, "Help me, I'm being held against my will," without immediate consequences. So he said, "Help me," and hoped someone would read between the lines. No one did, at least not in time. Conspiracy 37. The cousin's family photo. When Yu's alleged cousin posted concerns online, skeptics immediately questioned whether he was really related to Yu. Anyone can claim to be someone's cousin on the internet, but the cousin provided proof, a family photo from years earlier that clearly showed Yu as a child among relatives. More importantly, when investigators checked Yu's old social media posts from 2011, they found comments Yu had left on this cousin's page, proving they'd been connected for over a decade. This verified the cousin's identity and lent credibility to everything else he said. His testimony, that the family wasn't notified, that police controlled their movements, that they weren't allowed access to Yu's belongings or apartment, became the only verified first-hand account from someone who wasn't part of the agency or government. And then he disappeared. The cousin's vanishing act after police visited him sent a clear message to anyone else considering speaking out. "We will find you, we will silence you, and there's nothing you can do about it." Conspiracy. The two statements from police investigative journalists combing through early coverage of Yu's death discovered something peculiar. On September 11th, the local police station published a bulletin about the incident on their official website. The bulletin mentioned 2 vehicles and suggested an ongoing investigation. But within hours, that bulletin was replaced with a different version. The new statement mentioned only one person, downgraded the investigation to an accident review, and removed all references to vehicles or other individuals. Screenshots of the original bulletin circulated briefly before being aggressively censored. Southern Daily, a major Chinese newspaper, published an article based on the first bulletin, asking questions about the second vehicle and discrepancies in witness statements. Within minutes, their article was deleted from their website and all archives. The editor who approved it was reportedly disciplined. 2 different police statements, both official, telling 2 completely different stories, and the one asking questions disappeared while the one closing the case remained. Conspiracy 39. The Xi Connection and Dragon Vein. Let's return to what might be the most politically explosive theory, that Xu Kai is related to Xi Jinping and that Yu's death is connected to the highest levels of Chinese government. In 2022, China completed a massive infrastructure project, tunneling through the Qinling Mountains to create an underground water diversion system. But according to feng shui practitioners and traditional Chinese belief, the Qinling Mountains represent Xi Jinping's dragon vein, the source of his ancestral power and political fortune. Drilling through the mountains severed that vein. Shortly after the tunnel's completion, Xi's luck allegedly began to turn. He secured a 3rd term in late 2022, but reports of health problems, including multiple strokes, began circulating in 2023 and 2024. His appearance at public events showed his visible decline. Then, in September and October of 2025, 9 high-ranking generals from Xi's own military faction were simultaneously purged. Yu's death occurred during this same period of political instability. If Xi Kai is truly Xi's son, and if Xi Kai orchestrated Yu's murder, then Xi faces an impossible choice: protect his son and risk the truth exposing his family's corruption, or sacrifice his son to maintain his own position. The aggressive censorship and total shutdown of the investigation suggests Xi chose protection over accountability. But that choice requires eliminating every loose end, every witness, every piece of evidence that might connect back to his family. Conspiracy 40. Museum Director Yan Shi. The director of the 798 Art Museum is a man named Yan Shi. According to a whistleblower who claimed Yu's body is stored in the museum's basement, Yan Shi personally led the team that moved Yu's corpse through the underground tunnel at 3 a.m. on September 11th. The whistleblower described Yan Shi and several people in white protective suits spending 2 full days underground after Yu's death. When they emerged, the entire area reeked of formaldehyde and disinfectant. The whistleblower said the people in suits spoke with strange accents, not like medical personnel or cleaning staff, but like biotech researchers or laboratory technicians. If this account is accurate, it means Yan Shi wasn't just allowing his museum to be used as a storage facility. He was actively participating in the disposal and preservation of Yu's body. The museum's exhibits featuring what appear to be real human remains take on a darker meaning. Are these art pieces, or are they trophies? Are they purchased specimens from legitimate medical suppliers, or are they the bodies of victims? Conspiracy 41. The Cold Room 14. A whistleblower's testimony included a specific detail. Yu's body is in Cold Room number 14 on basement level 4 of the 798 Art Museum. This level isn't open to the public. It's the museum's archival storage area, accessible only with 3 separate physical keys and Director Yan Shi's iris scan. No one else can enter without his explicit authorization. The whistleblower said museum staff received strict orders not to approach basement level 4, and anyone who did would face severe consequences. If investigators or journalists wanted to verify this claim, they'd need to enter the museum, access a restricted basement level with biometric security, and open a specific locked chamber, all without being stopped by security or arrested by police. It's an impossible task, and that impossibility is precisely why Cold Room 14 is the perfect hiding place. You can tell the truth about where a body is hidden when you know no one will ever be able to check. Conspiracy 42. The Orange Phone Case. Sometimes the smallest details become the most incriminating evidence. In August 2025, exactly 1 month before his official death date, Yu was photographed by fans at a public appearance. Someone captured an image of him taking a picture with his phone. The phone had a distinctive orange silicone case, bright, textured, immediately recognizable. That same month, actress Song Ren posted a series of photos on her social media. One photo showed a sushi restaurant table setting. Partially visible under a rolled hand towel was a phone, orange silicone case, same texture, same distinctive color. The odds of 2 people independently owning the exact same relatively uncommon phone case are low. But the odds of Yu's phone appearing on Song Ren's table during the month when leaked audio suggests he was being held and tortured, that's not coincidence. That's evidence. It places Yu's phone in Song's possession weeks before his death, supporting the theory that he was already captive, already stripped of his communication device, already in trouble. So there you have them, 42 distinct theories, allegations, and pieces of evidence that have emerged from the shadows of Yu Menglong's death. Some are supported by documentation and witness testimony. Others exist only as whispers and speculation. But together, they tell a story that refuses to die. No matter how many posts get deleted or accounts get banned, millions of people around the world don't believe Yu's death is an accident, and their disbelief isn't rooted in conspiracy theory addiction or anti-government sentiment. It's rooted in the simple fact that when you tell people to stop asking questions, they ask more questions. When you delete evidence instead of provide it, people assume you're hiding something. When you silence witnesses instead of protecting them, people know something is terribly wrong. Yu Menglong was a quiet man who loved his dogs, enjoyed cooking at home, and built a career on being uncontroversially kind. He didn't seek drama. He didn't entertain scandals. He just wanted to act, to create, to live a simple life. But he made the mistake of not being careful enough in a system where knowing too much makes you a liability. He eventually paid the ultimate price. His mother, whether she wrote one letter or two, might never see justice for her son. His friends in the industry remained silent, either from fear or complicity. And the 17 people allegedly present the night he died continue their lives, protected by wealth and political connections that make them untouchable. But here's what the people who killed Yu Menglong didn't count on. They didn't count on the internet never forgetting. They didn't count on the international attention the case would attract. They didn't count on the hundreds of thousands of signatures demanding proper investigation. And they certainly didn't count on every act of censorship becoming evidence of guilt. Yu Menglong's story doesn't end with answers. It ends with questions that grow louder the longer they go unanswered. Every deleted post, every banned account, every witness who disappears aren't silence. They're louder screams. Sometime in the future, the truth awaits because eventually, someone always talks. Someone always leaks a classified information. Someone always decides that their conscience matters more than their safety. And when that moment comes, when the full story of what happened to Yu Menglong finally emerges into daylight, the people who thought they'd successfully buried him will discover they only planted seeds. The truth doesn't die. It just waits for the right season to grow. If you believe Yu Menglong deserved better than what he got, better than a staged accident, better than a cover-up, better than being erased from history while his killers walk free, then you can't stay silent. Justice for Yu Menglong, if you refuse to accept the lies. Because the only people who benefit from silence are the ones who have something to hide. And I'm guessing you're not one of them. Hit subscribe if you believe everyone deserves the truth, not just the powerful and politically connected. Hit that bell so you never miss when we expose cases like this, where money, power, and corruption thought they could bury someone and get away with it. Only cowards and enablers scroll past without subscribing. Yu Menglong's fight isn't over. It's just beginning. And every person who refuses to forget his name is a witness that wealth and power can't silence all of us.
I want to thank you for watching this story to the end. If you enjoyed this story, you're going to love what's coming next. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell for instant updates on our latest videos. See you in the next one.